Hey everybody, welcome back to my condo here in Jomtien, Thailand. This is the $76,000 condo that I explained about in my last video. I'm back. I actually had a bit of a blood clot scare. I was in hospital last night. Everything's okay, and I'm back. In the last video, I gave you the tour and I talked about like why I bought the place, why I prefer older places. What I didn't talk about are those things that I kind of wish I'd known before I bought, and there's a few of those. Today, I'm going to stick to three major topics. First, I'm going to talk about the financial health of the condo and what that entails. That'll talk about common fees, sinking fees, and the very real issue of what happens when you have people in the condo who are not paying those fees. Second will be the general building condition and some things that I found out after I moved in, like for example, the fact that our fire alarm system needed a huge overhaul. So that's point number two. And third, I'll finally answer that cliffhanger from the last video about my stinky shower drain. A lot of you guys gave me some really great suggestions. I've actually tried one, so I'll show you whether that worked or not. And that's about it. All right, pitter patter, let's get at her. Okay, I'm now at my desk. As I showed you last time, this is my condo in Jomtien. It's 60 square meters, just a little less than that. So that's about 650 square feet. I bought it 2 years ago and it's great. Although today you can see it's a little bit overcast. The first overcast day we've had since I got back from Vietnam on December 1st, actually. So let's get into the first point. The most important point I should have asked before I bought this place. It's not about the view. It's not about the pool. The most important thing is the financial health of the building, and I did not inspect this enough. In Thailand, condos are run by what's called a juristic person's office, which is basically a management company. Every co-owner pays a monthly maintenance fee, what we usually call a common fee, and that goes to day-to-day costs like security, paying salaries, the management fees, and maintenance, little things like if a pool towel breaks, they'll fix that on it. In this condo, it's 50 baht per square meter per month. So in my case, that's about $90 a month, which I pay once a year. I pay in January for the whole year, which is a lot. My condo in Bangkok is only 35 baht per square meter, and I know condos around here that are 30 or less. So this is an expensive one. And there's another fund, which is called the sinking fund. So that relies on occasional one-time payments by co-owners. And it's for really large projects, like when they need to paint the building or things like that. And they'll just ask us for a one-time payment. And that, I think the most I've ever paid is like maybe $90, something like that. And they need those extra sinking funds when the management fees, the common fees, are running low. And that brings me to the point of this first issue that I did not check before I moved in. And that is that it's not how much the management fee is, the common fee is. It's about how many people are actually paying it, how many co-owners are actually paying it. One thing I've learned from here and also from other people I know around here, there's always some people who don't pay, right? Often by years, people will not pay for rooms for years at a time. And then the condo juristic person has to go to court and chase them down. And if too many owners aren't paying, that's when the condo starts to kind of fall off a cliff, right? So, especially in a small condo like this, it really matters, right? You feel the pinch when not everyone's paying their stuff, paying their fees. So one thing I wish I'd asked directly before I bought this was, how many people aren't paying their fees? Like what percentage of people are missing out on their fees? It's not the number of people, by the way. It's because everything's based on square meters. If, say, for example, 30% of the ownership did not pay common fees, that's 1/3 that is not being used, not being received. That matters. That matters a lot. I can't go into specifics on this particular condo because that would be a violation of private interests. I'm not allowed to do that. But I guess the question is, can you, as a buyer, get this information? And the answer is maybe. Okay? They are under no obligation here to give you that information. There's nothing in the Condominium Act that says the juristic must provide potential buyers with these kinds of financial disclosures. But you can ask. And Thailand's a pretty open place. So I think you'd more often than not in an older condo. Yeah, I don't know about newer condos. They keep things much tighter. And often in newer condos, they've only had a year or two data. But in an older condo, you can ask if you might be able to improve your odds by hiring a charismatic agent for an hour who has nothing to gain from helping you, right? Pay them directly and say, please come with me, talk to juristic. Juristic might at least then waft you some incense about, well, I can't say directly, but it's not great. They might tell you something. Having said that, even if they don't tell you the information, if a place looks amazing, then you're probably okay, right? Like my place in Bangkok's old. If I were to walk through the grounds now, I would assume that there's more than enough people paying because it looks fantastic, right? And if they won't give you the information and the place looks like it is falling apart, that's kind of your answer. And that really brings us to the next point, which is the red flags that were there and I still bought the place, okay? So let's go into that next. So when I say red flags, I mean those things that you can just visibly see in the condo that should warn you that maybe something is wrong, because they're indicative of maybe things that you cannot see, right? Things that might mean that the condo is kind of heading towards a cliff. And when I first looked at the place, there were a few glaring ones. One perfect example, we have two elevators, and one of them has been broken since the day I moved in, and was broken years before I moved in, and continues to be broken now. All right. Of course, I just ignored it because I'm an idiot. But yeah, there's that. There were like these leaking pipes. There's a lot of exposed pipes down in the basement area, which is not great, especially if they're leaking and not being fixed. And then there's, of course, the obvious problem of these bars across the street that I saw that, might mean that this place will be, if I ever want to rent it, would be hard to rent, will be noisy for myself personally, might even be hard to sell. So there were some obvious things. I ignored them all because I just wanted the place. But, the one big problem that I wasn't expecting and that I didn't know about until I moved in was that our fire alarm needed a whole rebuild. That is actually getting done literally today. They're working on it, right? So they're they're installing a whole new system of detectors and things like that. But how much of this stuff can you find out before you buy it? Now, you can see the red flags. If you're smart, you won't ignore them like I ignored them all. But let's say that you're like me and you go, yeah, you know what? That'll get fixed. And I love the condo. Can you find out about these bigger issues that are in the background you cannot see? Again, the answer is maybe. One commenter in my last video in the comments suggested going to juristic and asking for the minutes of the last year's AGM, annual general meeting. There as well, I don't think there's any legal obligation for them to give those to you, but you might be able to get at least a list, a copy of the page that talks about what we need to fix or something like that, to give you an idea of the bigger projects that are on the agenda. Because if it's something like a fire alarm system, we might say, I don't know about that, but then it's your choice. To be fair to our condo, it's fixed, right? Like it's getting done. So it turned out I made a good decision, even though I didn't know it was the fire alarm system. But, now we know. Again, hiring someone who maybe would speak for you and try and get some information might be a good idea. All right, so that's the end of the second point, which is red flags. Okay, and finally, the big reveal, the part 3 of the things that I didn't know. was my stinky shower drain. One of the more glamorous things about my condo. My shower drain, for those of you who missed the last video, since I moved in, has been producing every few days or sometimes every day, sometimes, this really funky, nasty smell, like something's rotting. And I thought it was from my bathroom, but even from my air cons, sometimes it happens, right? And it could be air going into my, the drain, whatever, the air vent in my ceiling of my shower that's getting into the ceiling, who knows, into the ceiling space. So I mentioned that in my last video as kind of a throwaway line. And a lot of people, like a ton, noticed that. They locked onto it and left a ton of comments with some really useful information, because I don't know anything about plumbing. I'm not a handy guy in general. So people are giving me possible causes, like missing traps and things like that, possible solutions. So to those people who left me comments, thank you so much for doing that, because you educated me and I really appreciate that. Like, totally. And in response to that, I went online. I just bought a ton of little gadgets to try. All right. So, you guys gave me some good ideas. So now it's time for the big reveal. So I'm going to take you over to my shower. Hold on. Okay, so there's my bathroom. And there's my drain. This is my shower. I actually have one of those rainforest showers, which I quite like. And if I pop off the top, you can see that is what I used. And it's a little one-way drain there, right? And the way I did it was I bought one of these one-way drain things, which probably sucks, but it came with these kinds of O-ring looking deals. And those are what I used to put in there. And then I just popped that gadget inside of there. The gadget's one of these kinds of things, like a one-way thing. And that was it. I think that solved the problem. That's my big reveal. So since I put that in, and it's been more than a week now, I have not even had a hint of smell. So for all of you guys who gave me these suggestions, if ever you come to Thailand, just remind me of this. And if you're in Jomtien, I will buy you a beer to say thank you, because I really appreciate the help. Like, that was just fantastic. It makes me kind of fall in love with the internet again. Okay, so that's it. That's kind of a curated list of some of the problems I've had with this condo. I imagine many people would. There's basically three types. There's the obvious ones I could see, like the broken elevator. There's the ones that needed some digging, like finding out the financial state of the condo, which I didn't do at all. So, who has two thumbs and is stupid? That would be this guy. And finally, there's just ones that I kind of found out, like the fire escape or fire alarm thing. Oh, and another one too. My first rainy season, I just started getting a lake in my condo, and basically there's a crack in the cement. Basically, I think it's, there was construction above me a while back. So I don't know if that's what caused it. I don't know. But yeah, there's this crack in the cement, and I had to buy a wet vac just to keep up with it. I've since had it fixed. But yeah, on heavy rainy days, it was kind of like a swimming pool in here. So that wasn't good. But that's a story for another day. So let's leave that. Now, the question you might be asking me is, Mike, hey, if you knew all you knew now, would you still buy this room? And I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but yes, I would. Because I just loved it when I got here. And I just had a good feeling about the people here. Everyone I've met here has been really nice. It's more older expats, so there's a bit of camaraderie amongst people like that. It's not like partier expats either. It's just like people like me are just kind of living a fairly quiet life and doing their thing. I like the look and feel of the building. I like the location. And since I bought the place, I've actually joined the juristic committee as well. So I'm now trying to work with this whole committee and with the condo people to try and make this a better place, right? And you can do that too, by the way, even if you don't need a work visa to do that, because you don't make any money doing it. but it's just where you're a representative of the people and you can just say, should we fix this or should we do stuff? Yes or no. And you can give some guidance together to make decisions on how the money will be used most effectively to make the condo a better place. But yeah, for most people, you probably look at this and you see the red flags and maybe you want to feel like you want to Venmo some guy living in Thailand to find me and punch me in the head. I would fully understand that feeling of why you'd want to do that, because it didn't make good sense, but it's making sense now. Like, we're working in a positive direction. Anything else? I don't think so. I'm pretty happy with the place, warts and all. If you have any questions or comments about your own experiences with condos, or if there's anything I've said that you have perhaps some guidance on, like, what your condo did to do things about collecting fees or sinking funds, anything like that, please let me know. Please, as usual, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Coding Travelbug, I'm Mike. It's looking like it's cleared up a bit. I'll show you out to the balcony so you can have one last peek. And there you go. We have a sunset brewing. Rain clouds are gone, so it's going to be a nice evening. On that note, from sunny Jomtien Thailand, I'll see you guys next episode. I'm not sure what it'll be. I think I've covered the risks enough. I kind of want to do a walkthrough of some condos with my friend Pupe. She's a friend of mine from Bangkok. She brought her agency down here, and I think she does mostly like newer condos and properties, but that wouldn't hurt. I'd like to have a look at a few new places as well. I'm very biased against buying new places. I feel they don't make a lot of financial sense given the market in Thailand, but yeah, why not? There's going to be people who might be interested in a really good place, like really good amenities. You're going to get a small room, but the amenities might be great. So why don't I try and do that next, right? So I'll see if I can contact her and see if she'd be okay to talk on screen and give us some information. Okay, you guys take care wherever you're at. Have a good week ahead. And this is Mike from the Coding Travelbug. See you later. Ciao.